Hi everyone, and welcome to Knitting with Dolls. I am Julie and I'm your host, and you can find me on Instagram as Bubblegumblythe and Bubblegumponys on Ravelry. I have such a hard time saying that word. I don't know. Am I the only one? Am I the only one who cannot pronounce that word correctly? I watch so many podcasts and it just flows off their tongues and I'm just like, Ravelry? Oh, I don't know. But you all know what I'm talking about. So that's where you can find me on social media. Those are my two main hangouts, I guess. And and I'm also Bubblegum Blythe on Ello, ELLO, the new app. Well, it's not really new, but it seems like everyone is having issues with, including myself, with the whole Instagram trying to change things up, which don't even get me started. Why change something? It's perfectly fine. I just don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, that's where you can find me. I'll put all the information down in the info box at the bottom of this video. So yeah, welcome to my first episode. This, I'm not too sure if I want to call it a podcast or just a video blog, a vlog. It's another weird word. Vlog. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, I just want to talk about the stuff that I'm into and the stuff that I like and feel more connected to the people in my whole crafting community. So I could start off by, let me explain where the name Knitting with Dolls comes from. If you do follow me already on Instagram, you probably have an idea. I collect Blythe dolls along with other toys, I guess. Yeah, toys and stuff. But Blythe is my main, she's my main girl. She's the main thing I collect. And what a Blythe doll is, I just so happen to have one right here. So this is a Blythe. Her actual name, is Mary Skier. That was her release name. And the thing about Blythe, which makes them super cool and what really attracted me to them, is well, first of all, they're super cute. And second of all, they have this pull string. And when you pull it, their eyes change color. Come on. That's super cool. So Blythe is a doll that first came out in 1972, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. I believe it's 1972. And the creator, her name is Allison Katzman, and she worked for Kenner Corporate. I'll just break it down really fast. I feel like that I could talk about Blythe in a whole other episode because there's a lot to talk about. So basically, she wanted to make a doll. She was a toy designer, and she designed, I don't know, any of you collectors out there, she also is really well known for a toy called the Emerald Witch, which is this super cute little witch. She's purple and her eyes glow green. Sorry guys, I'm trying to look in the camera, but it's distracting. Anyway, so I digress. So Allison Katzman, she wanted to make a doll to compete with Barbie because, Barbie was where it's at, where it was. And so she needed something different. She didn't just want to make, a fashion doll, because that's what, Blythe really was. She's a fashion doll. And so she said that she designed her after Betty Boop. She was inspired by Betty Boop with the big head and then the big eyes. And then she got the idea for the changing eyes from her daughter. Her daughter came home from the eye doctor and she needed contacts, but the doctor by mistake gave her like colored contacts, and so that's when she was like, that's amazing, let's make a doll like that. So Blythe was out for about a year. It was on shelves for a year, and she did not do well. Why would little kids be afraid of her? I don't know, but they were kids were like terrified of her, so she did not do well. Fast forward to the year 2000, when photographer Gina Garand came out and had vintage dolls, and she was taking pictures, and then they were used in advertisements. Like Alexander McQueen used them for, Target. I believe there was one for like Puma. She was just being used. Blythe just became like a muse for, companies and fashion designers and stuff like that. And so from there, a woman named Juko Wong, she just kind of, I believe, like bought like the licensing, and she brought Blythe back to life. So they sell them in Japan. That's the only place you could really get them, and you could buy them online, and it's such a big community, and it's a really fun hobby. And I've met a lot of amazing people through Blythe. Like people from all over the world are in this hobby, so that's super cool. So that's where the doll part of knitting with dolls comes from. And so the way it intertwines is because I knit hats for the dolls. So I'll show you a few of the hats. I do have a shop. It's called Lucky Luna, luckyluna.bigcartel.com, and I sell my little hats. I sell my hats for the dolls. And like I said, if you already follow me on Instagram, this is where I post all of the things that I make and all my little shop updates and stuff. This is like a super bright yellow, which I love, but unfortunately, it gets blown out. And so those are the hats that I have. So that's the doll part of knitting with dolls. So just a little rundown of my whole, I just feel like it could be like such a long chat. So my crafting, I'm into a lot of things. I'm self-proclaimed to have like craft ADD. It's just, I want to do everything. It's like you're on Instagram and you see all these just so inspired by like these talented people who just do everything, and I'm like, I want to learn how to do that. And then forget about Pinterest. Like Pinterest is just, you go crazy. Like you just have like 1,000 boards of like, things to do, new hobbies. Like no. So just to speed it up, my first hobby of choice was embroidery. I found Jenny Hart, who is an amazing, embroidery artist, and she makes like super awesome patterns. I don't really have, just trying to look, I have some stuff up there. I'll show you guys later. But, so embroidery was my first really love, like my craft of choice, like I said. And then that gradually moved on to crochet. So I taught myself how to crochet through the magics of YouTube, because unfortunately I didn't have anyone to teach me how to do it, and I'm more of a visual learner. I cannot open a book and like read. And plus, you guys know, when you start a new hobby, you have to learn the language of that hobby. Like, you don't know what, like, double crochet, like, what is that, DC 12, like, So yeah, so I learned through YouTube, and it was just amazing. Like the whole concept of it was just so amazing to me, how you could take a hook, basically like a stick and like some yarn, and just make anything you want. So that was just like, just blew my mind. You know, I wasn't like new, like I knew what like crochet stuff was, but you know, before you get into the hobby, you're just like, you call knitting crocheted, and you crochet knitting, and it's just, which is such a pet peeve of mine, let me tell you. Like, I could be knitting and people are like, oh, what are you crocheting? I'm like, it's knitting. I mean, I'm not like super snotty about it, but it's just like, ugh. But anyway, um so yeah, crocheting, I love crocheting. It's, oh, as you can see, like down here, I have like a buttload of granny squares because it's like my 2-year blanket going on, because I just wanted to make like a granny square blanket, and I'm just not good at making blankets. They're just, I don't know, one of those things. I guess blankets are just one of those things that it really is a labor of love, and you know there's going to be time invested. And I happen to get bored of like really big projects, which you know, I do that little trick where it's like, if you're going to take on a big project that you know it's going to take you a long time, to always have a little project on the side, just so you could finish up really quickly and you could get that sense of accomplishment really fast. So I guess that would make me like a product crafter, like product knitter and product crocheter, that, you know, even though I do like the whole process of making things and I just cannot wait to have finished objects. So that's what really does it for me, the finished objects. So, and you know, like, I make hats, I make bags. Oh, I'll show you this really cute bag that I made. It's like one of my favorite things. But of course it's all like bent out of shape, but it's one of my favorite things I've crocheted. But it's a little cheeseburger. Sorry to all you vegans and vegetarians out there, but I just think it's super cute. So that was like, you know, it's one of my favorite things that I crocheted and stuff. Boop. Yeah, so, you know, what really brought me into knitting, because I'm a newish knitter. I've also, I've taught myself how to knit, because I just feel like that's what happens. You know, if you're into crochet, you just kind of go into knitting, and vice versa. Like, if you're really into knitting, it's just, I guess, that hunger just to know how to do everything, and like that you just want to learn how to do everything. But so what really brought me into knitting was, I really wanted to learn how to knit socks. That was like just so amazing to me. I'm like, oh my god, you can knit socks. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, how do you do it? And so that's what really brought me into knitting. So yeah, so that's kind of like the sped up story. I just love everything. I'm really into, what really inspires me is color. I just love color. I love pinks and purples and greens and neons. Like, oh, don't even get me started on neons. It's just like, I'm obsessed. But yeah, so I guess we'll chat more about that as the episodes come along. I want to show you some stuff that I've been working on, and some things that I finished. So let's do finished objects. Yeah. I'll show you one of my like latest finished objects, which are socks. Which is so crazy, because you know how like Facebook has the you know, on this day. And so yesterday, like last year, like exactly like a year ago, I posted an update and it was saying that I learned how to knit in the round with DPNs. And I also wrote like, God, I just want to learn how to knit socks. Dude, I know how to knit socks. So true. If you want to learn how to do, just do it, you know? I always say that everything is hard until you learn how to do it. Right? It's just... So yeah, so these are my socks. Well, one pair that I have finished. The other ones I've worn, so they look crazy. So these are my socks. I use Patton's Croy in the stripes. This is the tag. It's a purple haze. The purple haze colorway. And these I did for the stripy sock Kal that is being hosted by Candace of Pinfeathers Purls podcast, and she also has a group on Ravelry. Oh, guys, don't make fun of me because I don't know how to pronounce that word. Okay, it's not nice. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, so these are my socks. I did a shorter leg than I usually do, and I like this length of leg a lot. I feel like it looks it's similar to the rest of my socks that I have, like my store bought socks. But yeah, it's just a plain vanilla sock that I did I did a heel flap, just like the slip, you know, slip one, knit one, and then you flip and then you purl. And I did a rounded toe. And I actually used the Rose City Rollers toe and heel, and because that was like the first pair of socks I ever knit. It was a Rose City Roller, and it was for my sister for Christmas, so I don't have them to show you, but oh man. And I did like, you do like the Kitchener stitch, and it's just amazing. Like making socks, it's crazy. Yeah. And these are honestly like the best pair of socks I made. Like even when I picked up the stitches, I didn't even get like that hole really that I usually get. So yeah, so that's one finished thing. And I'm super happy with them. Yep. I'll put them there. They need to be washed. I have sock blockers, but I'm not crazy about them. I really want to get wooden ones, or I want to get those wire ones. I forgot who makes them, but anyway. And so another thing that I finished, okay. So ever since I started crocheting and getting into just like yarn, just buying a buttload of yarn, this is all like my acrylic stuff, but anyway, doesn't matter. I've always been fascinated with yarn bombing. I just find it so creative and just really cool. Like it's just super cool, and it makes me happy whenever I see it out in the wild. It's just like, I love it. I went to Vogue Knitting Live this year, back in, when was it, January? And London Kay was there, and she's a yarn bomber who lives in Brooklyn. And it's just so cool. As much as I wish and try to be like a painter and like an illustrator, that's just something you need to practice every day. And like I said, I get the ADD and I just can't really commit. I used to paint and draw a lot, and I was getting better, but then I just got derailed, and that's a whole other therapy session. But so I just finished my first yarn bombing piece, which is going to go on a tree by my son's school. I think that's where it's gonna go. But so this is it. I crocheted of course, because there was no, like, I don't have a knitting machine, so I can't, like, make huge, it would take me, like, a year to make. So, yeah, so it's just a rainbow monster. And I'm going to tie it on the tree, and then it will look like this. And I'm super excited about it. I hope I don't get a ticket. I mean, or arrested. I don't think I'll get arrested. It's not spray paint. If someone says, like, take it down, I'll take it down. I don't put it someplace else. Like, the whole point of it is just, if I can make, like, one person smile and be like, oh, that made me happy. Like, that's all what it's really about. So, yeah, so those are my two little, like, finished objects that I kind of completed recently. I will show you some works in progress. The lighting, it's a little nuts, sorry. So, this is my favorite project bag. It's little llamas. This is a button from Mab Graves, who is an artist, and I got that when I went to Chicago for BlytheCon, which I will talk about in another video if you guys want to know about it. And the little llamas, and this is from Olive O on Etsy. No, Olivia O. Yeah. No, I'm lying. Olive O on Etsy. I think she has a couple of bags there left. She hasn't updated in a while, but it's my favorite. I'll put her information down. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. So I'm working on this. And it's a little curled up, but it's basically, it's the dovetail scarf from Pearl Soho, and I do not remember what yarn this is because it's been, there's a story behind this yarn. This was my first really expensive yarn purchase. Like I said, when I crocheted, it was just basically like acrylics, Lion Brand, Vanish Choice, and you know, all the stuff you buy at Michael's. And so I wanted to make my mom, I wanted to crochet her a really nice scarf using nice yarn. So I went to my local yarn shop, which is called the Naked Sheep. And I went and I picked this out. I'm pretty sure it's merino. I don't even remember what it's called, but it is pretty. So I bought 2 balls. Like, what was I thinking? That is so much yarn. But I didn't know. I was just like, because I feel like crochet uses up more yardage. I don't know. I could be wrong, but so I made my mom a scarf. Took forever. She didn't really like it. So I was like, oh, that's great. So I took it back. Because I'm like, I spent a lot of money on that yarn and a lot of time. So I took it back and I had this scarf for just ever. And then I finally decided to take it apart. I balled up the 2 balls and I casted on this scarf. It's supposed to be like a handkerchief, but I'm going to make it bigger. And I'm going to give this to her for Mother's Day this year. So it's like I'm recycling, kind of. Because she wanted something long that could really, you know, the scarf was like fine, but it wasn't as long as she wanted it to be. Hey, listen. So that's what I'm doing. It's a super easy knit. It's a free pattern. And I'm using, these are Hayas in a size 6, which is a 4mm, and this is a 32-inch wire. Yeah, 32-inch wire. I like it. It's squishy, it's soft. By the time I'm done with, I think I'm going to use both balls. I don't know, but this is it, kicked up. Really pretty purples, tonal. Really nice. I like it. And I hope she likes it. And if she does not, I'm not making anything else. This is it. And my second work in progress, which is in a bag that I made myself. So it is not, I'm not a sewer. That's a whole other thing I want to get into. I wish I knew. See, like, I don't know, but whatever. It's cute fabric. I don't know what the name of the fabric is, but it's cute. So I'm working on a pair of socks, and I'm doing her Hermione's everyday sock, which I think everyone and their mother is doing right now, because KT from Inside Number 23 podcast, she's doing the Harry Potter along, and I have to confess, I am not into Harry Potter. I'm not. I'm sorry. I wish I was. I tried reading the books. I just couldn't get into it. But I do appreciate the fantasy of it all, like the wizards and stuff. Like, I really do. I think the imagination is just like so impressive, you know? Sorry, guys. I'm not into Harry Potter like that. But I always wanted to make the socks, so that's what I'm making. So of course, like, everything's tangled up. So this is my first ever patterned sock, because I've only just kind of made vanilla socks, and this is the first time I'm doing a different cuff, heel, and toe. I don't even know if I joined it right, but this is it so far, and this is just like my first sock, and this marker is just to let me know, you know, what's the front and what's the back. The pattern is written for circular needles, but I'm a DPN girl. I've made one pair of socks for my son using circular needles because it was toe up, and it was just going so slow for me. I don't know, I just couldn't do it. I guess because I'm so used to making the little hats on DPNs that I'm just quicker with DPNs. That's just it. I have something to tell you guys about this sock. So, and this is the first time I'm doing that, like, eye of partridge heel, or modified whatnot. So I'm doing the heel, and being that the pattern is written for circular needles, I just got confused with, like, the steps, I guess, like what row goes where. So basically, while I was knitting it like inside out, and I did it for longer than I want to admit, but it was a bummer. I was like, oh man, like, how did I not realize that the outside was on the inside and the inside was on the outside? That's what you get for knitting at night, because that's when I usually knit, is, you know, once the kiddo's asleep. But so I had to rip it out, and I started again. So the yarn that I'm using is Knit Picks Hawthorn. Jeez, I can't speak. In their speckled colorway. Oh, I don't remember the blue one. I don't remember. Something confetti, I think. And this is also Knit Picks. This is Knit Picks Stroll and Brights. Ooh, that is that is super bright on camera. I love it. So yeah, so that's how far I got. This is the first sock. I don't know. I like the pattern. It's cool. The pattern actually goes fast, and like I said, I didn't do it as many repeats as it calls for because I actually like the shorter leg. And not for nothing, this stroll it's super thin. It's a lot thinner than the Patons Croy, and I just wanted to use these needles because the needles I'm using, they're the Haya Sharps, which you all know. You know what Haya Sharps are, and they are a lot. I just feel like they're a lot thinner than the usual needles I use, because you know, like any new knitter, you go to Michael's and you buy all the needles there. So this is what is it, Boyd? Yeah, it's not Clover. It's the Boyd like metal needles, and I just feel like they're the same size. I mean, oh, sorry for shaking the camera. They're supposed to be the same size, but I don't think they are. You know what I need? I need one of those needle gauges to tell you the legit size of the needle. Let's go to my knitting things I need list. So yeah, these are Hiya Sharps in US 1 2.25 millimeter, and I cast on 64 stitches, and I'm just doing what I do with my other basic vanilla socks. I'm just using like the pattern and stuff like that. And these little point protectors, they're like little sheep. Just kidding. So yeah. And you definitely need point protectors for these guys, because you know that they're called Hiya Sharps, but you don't really realize how sharp they are until you stab yourself. So yeah, so that's it. Those are the two things I'm working on. I'm trying to be, you know, a little monogamous. Oh, and I'm also knitting these socks for Sarah of the Knottygnome podcast. She's having a speckle along, which, come on, like who doesn't have speckled yarn in their stash? I know I have like a buttload of it, so I'll kill two birds with one stone. Yeah, so that's it for my works in progress and my finished objects. I will move on to more yarn that I bought. Stash. I will show you one of my newest acquisitions, and something that I got maybe like last month that I love, and I just want to share with you guys because it's the first episode and it's all I really have to show. So last week in the mail I got this bad boy. Oh my gosh. And as you can see, this is Junk Yarn from Kemper of the Junk Yarn podcast, and this is the Ray colorway, and this is her Boss 2-ply sock, 80% merino, superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 400 yards. There's it might be blurry, but you guys can see, right? Okay, like I said, I'm filming on my phone, so, and it's just so pretty. Like, I can't even deal. I love it so much. The colors, it's beautiful. I love it. I don't know what it's going to be. It might be too pretty for socks. I don't know, but I love it so much. The other yarn I want to show you is this guy from the Flying Kettle, and this is her Bee's Knees Glider 2-ply, 80/20 merino nylon, 400 yards sock yarn. I'm just reading the tag. Here's her tag, the Flying Kettle. It's showing up a lot greener. Well, no, that's pretty much it. It's not as green. It's more of a mint green than it's really showing on camera. Maybe if I pull it back. But it's just amazing. It's just like another work of art. That's seriously how I look at this yarn. It's just like art. It's just like, so pretty. It's too pretty to use. Like, I just want to make it in a brooch. People still wear brooches. Yeah, right? On your shawls. You can knit a shawl and make a yarn brooch. Oh, I love it. Yeah. And then Kemper also sent a little like mini skein. I don't know what colorway that is, but it's really pretty. I do not have a sock yarn blanket cozy memories. like I said, I'm not good with blankets. It just takes me forever, and I have like 2 huge like granny square blankets that are works in progress that I could have showed you that, but I'll wait until next time. So I think that's it. I think that's it for what I wanted to show you, the yarn. Yeah, so I'm at 35 minutes, not too bad. I could talk about, I started reading this book. It's an oldie. It came out a while ago. It's Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim. It's by David Sedaris. So far, I finished 1 chapter, and it's funny, and I enjoy it. Because that's one thing I really, it's like, I don't know if it's, I want to say embarrassing, but I don't read a lot, and I wish I did. And that's what I'm doing. I'm making time to read more books because, you know, reading is fundamental, right? Yeah. Okay, guys, I think that's it. I think that's it for today. If you made it through the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope I wasn't too awkward. Like I said, I'm not too sure where this is going to go. So far, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I know there are so many podcasts out there, especially knitting podcasts. So I really do appreciate you checking me out and giving me a chance, and I hope to just find my place in the knitting and crafting community, you know, because right now I do it for myself. You know, I feel like everyone kind of does it for themselves, but I don't have too many knitting friends, I guess, you know. So yeah, that's it. I will see you next time. I hope all you guys have an amazing day. Oh, today is March. Oh, shoot. Today's March 22nd. Tuesday. Tuesday, March 22nd, 2016. I forgot to say that in the beginning. Sorry. Yeah, so hopefully I can get this uploaded if it's not like super crazy and I don't have to re-record it, because I've literally have been talking to myself for like hours, because it's very nerve-wracking. It's really putting yourself out there and having the world, like, I mean, you know, you know what I'm saying. If you podcast and you watch podcasts, you know the deal. So I hope you enjoyed. Yeah. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.